Hey there, I'm Stace, and if you can give me 30 minutes, I want to show you how you can make up a bunch of ferments for the week for your crew. Let's get cooking. I got through a lot. I am going to put 30 minutes on my timer, and you and me, I'm going to show you exactly all the different things that I can get done in half an hour. If you love the idea of this and want to put ferments into your crew's diet as well, check out the link below for my fermenting course. You can jump on the wait list there. So let's put the timer on and let's get started. Okay, first things first is I want to make up some kombucha. So I'm going to put the kettle on. Well, that's good, I'm only 30 seconds in. And the next one I want to do is some gummies. If you've been around here for a little while, you will know that I am so into gummies. So the first part you start with is some real juice. I've got all of these recipes linked below for the gummies so that you can give them a crack yourself. In with the orange juice. Of course, you could be subbing apple, you could be subbing any real fruit juice that your crew loves. In with some gelatin. This stuff is so good for us. It is full of protein. It is the stuff that makes our bones hard. So we are going to be getting better joints, better ligaments, all of that stuff from it. And the best bit, it goes in and it heals your gut lining as well. All right, let's get this on for the gelatin to melt. Alrighty, the kettle's done. The bit I love about making kombucha so much is that if you can make a cup of tea and you're an expert at letting it go cold, unintentionally of course, then you, my friend, will be an expert at making kombucha as well. Because the base of it is basically black tea and sugar. What that does is that's what feeds, just trying to get a few different types in here. The sugar and the caffeine in the black tea feeds our ferment there, which is called a SCOBY. I'll show it to you in a sec. So often I'm asked in my fermenting course, Stace, I love green tea. Can I make it with that? Yes, you can actually, because it's got caffeine in it. But things like peppermint tea, you can't, and our gorgeous chamomiles and things like that, because they don't have any caffeine in them. However, you can add them later on if that's the flavor that you want to go for. Look at that. You're halfway to making kombucha. All I've got to do is let that go cold. And I'm going to grab out stuff to make some fermented sourdough crumpets. I'm doing pretty good here. Just about to hit 5 minutes. Nice. Okay, some sourdough crumpets. Perfect. You can make these gluten-free as well. In my fermenting course, I teach you how to do that as well. So you get a recipe for how to make sourdough, oh my gosh, focaccia, how to make, oh my god, there is so many, the most incredible herb and garlic croissant loaf. Oh my gosh, I know that sounds like a lot, but it's going to be by far the most popular recipe, I can tell. But things also like this to make with your sourdough, because you might be in that team, and I know there's going to be a few of you that are like, you know what, I'm not certain I want to make sourdough, but geez, I like the sound of making sourdough crumpets. I like the sound of making sourdough into my pancakes, into my waffles. I like the sound of making a focaccia. So I'm giving you about 10 different recipes to make with your sourdough starter. That will be awesome as well. Okay, so what I'm doing here is basically getting in some bits that are going to make my sourdough rise up, right? So I just need some apple cider vinegar. So in there, I've got my starter, I've got some spelt flour, some sugar, some baking powder, and some apple cider vinegar. So to make crumpets, it's really not that different to making up a pancake. You gotta watch this. You're gonna love it. It's so cool. We'll give it a quick stir. And now watch that rise up. Isn't that amazing? Can you see that rising up? So that's gonna be my ticket. Let's get the pan on. And while that heats up, look at how much, it's nearly doubled. Oh my gosh, it's getting gorgeous bubbles on top too. I am gonna get my gummies into their molds. So my gummy mixture, all of that gelatin is now melted into the juice, which is perfection, because that means that it is going to be its sort of hardening binding agent. Let's move that to the side. And I like to put some kombucha in here too. Cue the kombucha. Here she is. And look at that. I'm 10 minutes in. I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling good. I want to stir through a cup of my homemade kombucha into these gummies. The reason I do this is it is such a good way for the kids to get in some of those ferments. I haven't heated it. Did you notice there that I just poured it in right at the end? So that means all of those good bugs are gonna be all right. Now, you could cut some corners here and really speed this up by not putting these gummies into these cute little silicone molds. I'll link up below where I get these from as well. But I just find that the kids smile that little bit brighter when I'm like, hey, I made gummies. And they'll say to me, Mum, what molds did you use? You can get some really great ones. My daughter loves when I do the unicorn ones and the mermaid tails. My boys, even though they're getting bigger, one of them's just started high school, they still love when I do the Lego molds. So if you've got some babes and you're wanting to introduce ferments to them and you're seeing these gummies, which is the healthy take on a lolly, then use their favorite molds. You can get ones that are snake shapes as well. All you're looking for is that the molds themselves are 100% silicone food grade. You don't want to be getting, I'm sorry to say it, but the really cheap ones that you see at Woolies and Coles, because they've got plastics in them. So if you find them really tough, pick them up. And if they're really hard to sort of maneuver, then that's your key, that they've got plastic in them. These are so good. So yeah, you could be saving, like I'm looking at this has taken me 4 minutes. So it's a little bit of time. Maybe you could offload it to someone on the side in your crew to do it. But you absolutely could just pour this mixture into like a glass Pyrex container, and you could just chop them up. I've done that before, and I've given to my kids, you know, little cookie cutter, tiny little baby chop out ones, and they love doing that as well. They think that's a whole heap of fun. I've done that when they've had friends over and they kind of chop out the different ones and they eat, you know, all around it. Off to the fridge it goes. We're nearly halfway, and now is time to get going on my crumpets. I use these little egg rings to make the crumpet shapes. Now look at how much that has grown, and see that life on top? Brilliant. Put a little butter on the pan. And just like that. I'll let them do their thing while I keep going. All right, while that's doing its thing, I can keep going with getting some more ferments done. I'm gonna ferment some carrots. The sides of mine are looking a little bit sad, so I'm just gonna give them a quick peel. I'm doing pretty good. I'm just on 17 minutes, so just over halfway. I feel like if I had a really big pan, I could get those crumpets done in one go. Maybe I should have put 2 pans on. That might be a little ticket for you too. The other thing that's really cool is you can actually put that in a container in the fridge and cook them fresh each day. How cool would that be? Like, because they're just so easy. They're just like cooking a pancake. Fresh crumpets. You'd be winning, Mum. Just gonna make these carrot sticks a bit fun with using my crinkle cutter. I'll link it below of where I grab it. I think it's the best under $10 item I've ever bought in my kitchen. And now into my jar. Now, there's a whole heap of different ways that you can make up fermented carrots. And in my course, I'll link it below, so make sure you're on the wait list or grab it now, that you can make them. Yeah, I make them with kombucha, I make them with kefir, I make them with just plain old salt. And today, I'm doing it a little bit different because this one is a really cool way to use up and to show a great use for your probiotic pills. If you've got some in the house and you're not really having them, or you're having them but you're like, oh, we're really not getting, you know, better with these. When you ferment carrots, there is 10 times the amount of good bugs as having a pill. Why is that? Because now those bugs actually have a good food source for them, right? They eat up all of the carbohydrates that are in your carrots and the natural sugars that are in that starchy vegetable, and they go and multiply and multiply and multiply. So that is such a winner. The best bit is they stay super crunchy. I send them for crunch and sit for my kids, and I'm like, yes! They just see that they're eating a standard carrot and I am getting in 10 times the amount of good bugs. So cool. All right, just on 22 minutes. I'm gonna get some bottles going because I wanna show you how to make some kefir. I'm just cooking the last of the crumpets. Holy dooly. They're looking pretty good, hey? All right, I'll leave those to the side. One of my favorite ferments to teach in my course is how to ferment fruit juice so that it strips out all of the fructose. My kids love this. It's something that I give to them nearly every single morning, and they absolutely love it. The great thing is if you're using real fruit juice, this isn't a spot for anything from concentrate, this is the real stuff, then you can use any and every fruit. Look at these beautiful orange ones. And it is simple as that. The ferment there is in that starter. I don't need to be draining it. I don't need to be doing anything funky with it. I literally just put these lids on, leave it to ferment for a couple of days in the middle of winter. And then I end up with this guy. This is one here. See around the top, there's a bunch of bubbles. And I thought it could be kind of fun to show you that I turn these into ice blocks for the kids. Because this ferment is A-okay being frozen. How cool is that? My kids have these after school, even in the middle of winter. I find they don't drink enough at school. Anybody else's kids like that? And these are such a hydrating way to get in these wonderful good bugs for them, both with having something that they feel is a treat and they love, but you adore because you're like, yes, you've just had all of those good gut healing bugs. This is the stuff that's gonna boost your immune system. It's gonna make sure you're not picking up, bugs everywhere you go. All right. Now I need to drain my kombucha so that I can pour that one in. The great thing about making homemade kombucha is it costs me 60 cents. Yep, you heard me right, 60 cents to make up a liter of this versus about $8 to $9 at the supermarket. And you can use up any fruit that you have on hand. I'm gonna use up some passion fruit. You can use dried fruit in these. You can use fresh fruit. It's such a good thing if you've got a lot of fruit around at that time to use it up. And to strain your kombucha, so this one has fermented with this guy here, the SCOBY. And all I do is I drain it out like this. How simple is it? leave a little bit there at the bottom. And then once that tea is cold, I just pour that on top. So simple, right? So you brew your tea, you let it go cold, you pour it in on that, you put the little muslin over the top, and it will take anywhere from 3 to 5 days to ferment. I've got a couple of scobies. Let's just fill those up as well. And I'll have the last bit. Yum. Oh, yum. Wow, I got through a lot. And look at these. Who said fermenting was gonna take so long? It doesn't. Honestly, it is so simple. It's the best feeling being like, I know that this is the stuff that is going to stop those colds. This is the stuff that when they're like, I'm really hungry, and you're like, actually, there's some stuff in the fridge, and you kind of go, yep, and that stuff is fermented. It's gonna boost your immune system. I love that. I mean, look at these. They're so cute. I've also got these little robots. Look at those guys. Now, of course, I could have picked up a lot more time if I had just poured this mixture in, but come on, look at how cute they are. I love adding in blue spirulina powder to these. I love adding in dragon fruit coloring. I love using different whole real fruit juices to make these up. You can use any and every color. You can even do them with straight kombucha as well. But I find that's like a strong girl. Alrighty. Oh yeah, he's nice and cooled. Please don't spill it, please don't spill it, please don't spill it. Half in this guy as well. Don't let the tea bags go in. And done! 30 minutes, look at this. We've got our carrots, we've got our ice blocks, I've sorted breakfast, I've sorted lunch boxes. Seriously, this stuff is so simple. This is just a taster of some of the recipes that are in my fermenting course. I also have milk kefirs. I teach you how to make sourdough. There's so many recipes, and the benefit of that is that you can just start with 1 or 2. Maybe you don't have as much space as me and you just want to make up some of this kefir to remove the sugar in it so that your kids can have juice and you can feel smug and rock starish that they're getting those good bugs in. That's easy. Start with that recipe. The benefit is that you've got that course there to trial as many different recipes that you like, and you'll have moi on hand to answer any and every question. Oh, this feels wonderful. All right, make sure you're subscribed and get on the wait list for that fermenting course. Yum. Oh my gosh, my kids are gonna come home from school and be like, yes, you won the day, Mum. Feeling pretty cool. 30 minutes to get all of that done. It actually surprised me as well.